So I'm gonna have this open just to refer to, actually. So this right here is the template that I created. And this is what I actually created from the template and posted to Pinterest probably 2 days ago. So this is, you can see this is actually a finished version of this pin template, created really quickly, probably in 1 minute. The only actual time I took into it was this picture. We took this picture ourselves in a yurt in California, up on Mount Madonna, and I edited the picture a little bit using the effects filter over here. Oh, actually, no, I used filter, I think. I used filter or adjust. It was a combo of adjusting it. That's really the only time I took to do this. Everything else was just typing things in, maybe moving this thing around a little bit. So I'm gonna go over here to the template. I'm gonna delete everything on it. I'm just going to start from scratch and from my brain power. So starting with the elements, as I've said before, I always start with the grid just because that's my general point of starting for everything. So here when you click this full grid, I'm gonna click see all so you guys can see all of the grids. So all these different grids, these are all like, you can add these to your images and use them in different ways. Like if I wanted to use this like triple one here, I could. And then if I were to like drag over a photo, like let me make a recent one. I can actually drag different photos like over. And then like put some box in it. Like that's just different ways to use the grids. I just wanted to show you that really quick. I'm gonna delete that though. Going down to elements, we're going off of this full page grid. I just resize it kind of to the shape that I want it to be. Roughly kind of like this. I'm working off my memory. I'm not trying that hard, so I'm just gonna kind of go with my gut. So here is the grid of where we'll drag over whatever image onto the template. And we're gonna have a backdrop kind of shadow to it. So I'll choose that shape. It's up here under recently used, but for somebody new using this shape, you're gonna find it in the elements area under where it says shapes. You have the circle right here, and then right next to it, you just give this one, you'll use it. And you can kind of just line it up to your image, and then it'll just auto kind of stick to the edges. This is where I'll kind of drag it off to the side here. I create a little backdrop to make sure these edges are even. So over here, where this edge is to this very edge of the template, I want that to be even with this area over here, which Canva does kind of automatically for you using the grid lines as you move stuff around. As this is in the front, I want to move it to the back. So I'm going to use this position area right here. I'm going to select backwards. Over here, you'll see forward and backwards. Usually there'll also be options like to front or to back if you want to move it all the way to the front or all the way to the back. Move backwards. And this was black in the original template. You can make it whatever color you want it to be when you get the templates and reuse them. So we added that, and we want to now add the text. For this one, once again, I used Josephine because I can't get enough of her. I'm just going to change this to Josephine. I use Josephine Sans Bold, and then change the color to black. Up here it'll be like, this is all caps, I believe. Line text goes here and here. And there's a little text underneath it that has like kind of maybe something you want to stand out to the reader, or like just the end of a sentence, but just something to jazz it up a bit. Like if it was, I'll show you in the finished product how we kind of did this. Change the color on that. So this is going to be Josephine also, and then we'll do black. You can also do Josephine bold and some want to make it a little bit longer. I just selected this little thing over here on the right side and drag it out. So I don't want this caps. So this is kind of the extra text. I'll show you what this extra text even is. Take off my caps lock. Extra text-ish. Drag this out. And then I'm going to center it. And then in the template, there was a little like extra element here with some flair. Go over to elements. And how I found that was actually I typed in doodle. So in elements, a lot of times, like my brain is, I don't have specific search keywords for Canva to find like the best stuff, but doodle is where I find a lot of the really cute things. I type in doodle, and I'm pretty sure it's down here. Yeah, here it is. That's where I found it. As you see, there's like kind of a similar one right here too. It's kind of cute. I just drug it over here and then I resized it itty bitty way. So as I get smaller, you'll see that this movement, multiple arrows will kind of come up. You just drag it down here to where above your text is on the edge. And then I'll resize it here, kind of give it a tilt to go over it, and then use my arrow keys on my laptop just to kind of downwards and just move it over. And then I change that to black. It can also be whatever color you want it to be. It doesn't really matter. It's probably a little bit bigger than it should be, but we'll just leave it. So then there's kind of like a highlight rectangle I wanted to put under the last and here. When your headline text, really like the highlighty rectangle, I like to just have on any kind of word you want to stand out. Like on my post here, I don't know where I put it. I put it under yurts. So it could be really under whatever you want. I probably should put it under enchanting because that probably was standing out. Probably stands out a little bit more. I'm going to actually just use this shape I already have on my page. I'm going to Control C and Control V it. And then I just kind of resize it here. Move it up to where the text is just so I kind of know the width I need it to be. And then I'm going to pull this up a little bit. It's probably a little too big actually. There we go. I can't remember what color this was. Oh, over here. What color the purple was, but I'll figure it out. A lot of the times for these colors, like I actually don't have like the best, I don't have like a list of perfect color codes to use or anything like that. I kind of play around with the palette a lot itself. So I'll just like click whatever color, like all my brand colors, and then I'll click the new color where you can get like all these, you can just drag and kind of play around with everything. For this one on the original template, it was like a neon-y purple. You can also change the color too when you get the template. Just kind of scroll over to where the purples are, and then I went up, and it's kind of like a lightish neon-y purple. And then here I will position this backwards. So it looks a little weird there. I'm going to click it and just move it up. Maybe enlarge this. I don't like how everything's spaced out. Let's decrease the line height. Okay. I know this is not exactly what I made earlier, but wow, this stuff is just playing around. So I can't really access that rectangle now since this is in the front. Let's move this to the back so I can move this rectangle down. There we go. I'm just gonna do this. Enlarge the text, it just kind of went away from me. Backwards, okay. Move this up. Here. Extra text-ish goes here. This is not exactly what I originally created, but I'm just trying to go off my head. Give you guys a general idea of what you're going to be doing creating templates. It takes a lot of, you know, just fiddling around with stuff, experimenting, seeing what you like, seeing what you don't like. That's a big one. Go through a lot more than you don't like than you do like. Because once you get in the groove and you find like the kind of stuff that really like does well, you'll know what kind of templates to create, and then you just kind of reuse those same ones over and over again. Like for Pinterest now, I'm finally getting into a groove where there's about 5 different styles I've really settled on, and now I can consistently just use those templates. So down at the bottom, I still haven't put in my area for the website. On Pinterest, this is really important because people like to steal pins. It's not people, they're just, I think they're just, people will go and buy affiliate sites and they just want traffic, so they'll just kind of reuse pins that they find on Pinterest, and they like to pass them off as their own, but usually most of the time they'll still have the original website at the bottom. Here, I think it was black, can't remember. And then the text down here is just going to be Josephine again. I'm going to copy paste the same thing here so it's easy for me to use. Make it white and then make it smaller. Drag this out, and then I'm going to put in it's website.com or whatever it is. For this one, it's whatever. It would be your domain if you want it to be your domain, or whatever you want it to be, wherever it's going. Usually wherever the link for this pin is going is the domain name you want to use at the bottom here. This just helps make your life a whole lot easier when you come across Pinterest, when you're just randomly scrolling and you see a pin that goes, it's a pin that you created. You click on it and it doesn't go to your website. It goes to someone else's website. It's from someone else's profile. They just screen grabbed it and they used it for themselves. You can then report it to Pinterest. You show them where you originally put that pin on your website, and then it also already has your domain name on it. So you can show them, like, even if this was one of the pins that I created to reuse for my website, even if it's not on my actual website, it has my domain name on it. Like, you know, that's the pin that I created. A lot of times it saves you a whole bunch of headaches with Pinterest. Now Pinterest has gotten so big that Pinterest support is, you know, they're working overtime. Not working overtime, but they have a lot of things to do, I'm sure. So here isn't exactly the same template I created, but from my head, it's basically close enough. Here is basically the finished template after I had already done stuff to it. I'm going to go sit here and I'm going to just Control Z all of this to get back to what it was. Miss better days before I touched it and tried to go off my memory. There, so that's the original template. You'll get that one in your email. And after putting it together, it looked like this, which is what I used for one of the posts on my website about the yurts that we visited. Not all the yurts actually on that post that we went to, but some of them are. And that's a picture of one that we went to. So when you're using this template, let's say I want to do something like, I don't know. Cheapest travel destination. I wonder if that's just hits too close to home right now because nobody can travel. This up. Okay. So here I'm probably going to put this under travel. Drag this out and then move it over. And now since that's kind of butting up against the other word, I'm going to probably increase my line height just a little bit. And then arrow down this a little bit. And then move this over to center. That's good enough. You know, like plus other travel hacks. And then, like, if I wanted to add maybe like a little divider right here to make it cuter, I love swigglies, just for dividers. that's in one of the templates that you'll get too. The cuteness looks like, oh, this is under elements. So when you want to search for an element, make sure you don't search for it under the photos. Select element right here and just type in squiggly or zigzag or separator or line. That's squiggle. Here we go, squiggle. I like this one. And then I just kind of enlarge it and then kind of use this. So I want to make that look better. I make that the same color as that up there, maybe. Different color. I really don't know what looks better on it. Then I'll just find a cute picture to just kind of drag over to the template area. Something of cheap travel destinations. Let's go. Then I'll just kind of click whatever picture I want. I'll drag it over to this area and this kind of takes. So this looks a little dark. I might want to adjust it a little bit just for the pin itself. Click here and I will click adjust. You can also use anything from the filters if it's just, you know, just to kind of like play around with things. It actually looks cute. Just use that one. And then if you wanted to animate this, so on Pinterest, video pins this isn't like really a way to use a video pin. A lot of times on Pinterest, they'll want to measure the time people spent watching a video pin. So animations for video pins are shorter. It wouldn't be really beneficial for the kind of insights you'll see on that pin. But if you want to add animations to any document you create in Canva, when you're on the document itself, you'll see this little animation thing. And then you can click around and play with the different animation effects. So like simple would be, I guess, just that. Block, tumble. So that's like kind of how, if you saw some of my Canva, some of my Instagram stories where I was promoting the Canva and Create Happy Hour, you saw that I think I used this. I think that was the animation I used on that story. That's where I use animations the most, or on stories or Instagram posts. I use them, I played around with them a little bit on Pinterest and actually created an ad with one of them. But at first it did get the majority of the views with 2 pins I was kind of running these different ads with, but the kind of insights I was getting weren't useful because the video insights are a little bit different. Anything with an animation, Pinterest is going to register as a video pin. But just make it cute pin. So that doesn't look as good as this one I created. I'm sure this one looks better. But I'll definitely send the original template to everybody. I'm just going to Control Z all of this. So it gets back to the way that it once was. Just to show you guys kind of like before after. So there it is. That's the original pin.